And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. The Daily Beast is reporting that intelligence data on ISIS was cooked to make it appear as though the Islamic State was actually weaker than analysts at Central Command reported. The reason for changing the data? To fit the narrative the White House was communicating to America. President Obama's intelligence chief, James Clapper, is alleged to be behind this. Amy, the White House has painted a pretty positive picture of how we're doing against ISIS, and now we think we have some reason to question whether or not this data that we're being fed is accurate.
Right, and I think it's disgraceful, obviously. We don't know if it's James Clapper that's manipulating this to try to paint a rosy picture for his boss, President Obama, or if it's coming from President Obama to James Clapper. But in the last segment, I pointed out, there was that famous interview with Diane Sawyer when what James Clapper didn't know, and it's his job to know, the 12 terror suspects that had been arrested in London, and that was the headline of the day. That's what we all woke up to. And if you remember in 2011, Mr. Clapper giving testimony on Capitol Hill and describing the Muslim Brotherhood as a secular organization, and it's named Muslim Brotherhood. Well, so the question is James Clapper really that dense, or is he just playing stupid?
The way it's being reported, and again, I can't sit here and vouch for the truth one way or another, but the way it's being reported is that what Clapper is doing is not telling these senior officers to lie, but telling them
without
implicitly telling them. Yes, exactly. Telling them his analysis, and then they bring it back. Joe, you and I are probably the only ones old enough on the panel to remember much about Vietnam.
How you like that, Joe?
I included you, huh?
That's unfair. She was born in the 80s. And John, I believe, was born when Reagan was inaugurated.
Apparently you're elderly now.
So here's my question to you. You will probably remember, I think you will, I don't know, I know I do, when William Westmoreland, our general running the Vietnam War, we found out that he had been lying to the administration about all sorts of things. And I remember how angry I was about that. As a result of that, I'm going to be just as angry if I find out that the Obama administration is a part of this, or if anybody, even if it's below the president, is a part of doing this. This is not okay. You have to tell the American people the truth.
The question is, are we surprised? Because
I'd be surprised.
We've seen this movie before. We've literally seen this movie before with Benghazi and the YouTube video that was blamed. Right?
I don't think it's fair to put Benghazi into this, because I think it's a very different situation where
they blamed a video that had nothing to do with that attack.
I understand that.
But the question is, inside the administration, did they blame the video?
Yeah.
Right, but the point is that it's the same theme, right? That, hey, Al-Qaeda is decimated, and see, they're shrinking, and we're winning the war on terror. This is just another example of politicizing something that these intelligence pros, 50 of them, came forward and said, this ain't right, and we're not playing this game anymore.
Well, yeah,
yes,
Jonathan,
it's disgraceful, as you said.
I think what's at work here is that there are too many senior officers who realize if they play along, they're going to get promoted. And if they don't play along, in fact, it was reported that a couple of them who didn't want to play along were suggested to retire.
Right.
Now, this is not healthy.
Well, no, you just nailed it right there. The ones that play along have a great retirement and often have several benefits once they get out as far as connections go. But listen, here's the reality. Let me say this to the American people that are looking in this camera right here. If I go and tranquilize a lion, and then I go and I give it a massage, and you watch it on TV, and I say, hey, lions are great. You look how peaceful and nice that they are. You don't have to worry about it. As soon as I walk away from that lion and that tranquilizer wears off, and you go try and massage a lion, guess what? You're going to die. That is the same thing that's happening here.
So the question I have to ask, what is the upside, Amy? What is in it for the administration, or if again, we have no way of knowing at this point if this is something the president and his key people know about or don't know about.
Right, we don't know the causality.
We don't know yet, right. But the question is, what's in it? I can understand what's in it for a senior officer. We just said, they get treated better because they're going along with the game. I'm not quite sure what's in it for James Clapper. I really don't. He's not fighting this war. He could give honest information. What could be in it for the administration to tell us this when it's not true?
At that level, of the military advising the White House, you're dealing with politicians, and that's how you get to those positions. But what's in it for the administration is very simple: complacency. It means that President Obama does not have to react forcefully and effectively to try to contain and defeat ISIS.
Into another war.
And remember that President Obama very famously said that he looked at ISIS and he thinks of them as a JV team, and just because you put on the basketball uniform, it doesn't make you a pro.
But you're right, but we would probably agree he doesn't see it that way anymore.
That he doesn't see ISIS that way?
Well, as
that
the JV.
may be. Well, that may be, but what is the action? What are the results?
Right.
He may have changed his view of ISIS, but he hasn't changed his approach.
Joe, what do you think about, I look back at this, and as you know, I'm pretty hawkish when it comes to ISIL.
You really are.
I really am. I think these are evil people
You
that
believe in
need
ground
to
troops,
be
for example.
taken care of. I always say the United States is at its absolute best when we are confronting true evil in the world. Sometimes we confront things that are maybe evil, maybe not. There's no question about ISIL. These are some evil, I'm not going to use the words I'd like to be using, right? So, Joe, what I do think about, though, is if we made the mistake that I think we made in going into Iraq, look at the impact this is having. The American people don't seem to want to have anything to do with war. And the administration seems to be just going along with them, and that's not leadership. If we need to be going after these people.
I think the American people, though, would be on board with a war against ISIS. Based on the horrific images that we've seen, the things that you've mentioned before, the beheadings of Christians, the fact that they're taking over large masses of land, they see this as another Nazi Germany marching through, and I think they would support it in this case because the evidence is so clear of how evil the enemy
we don't see that
is.
in the polls. I'd like to think that you're right, but we don't seem to see it.
If you don't stop the battles, you'll never end the war.
And the battles will get worse.
Yes.
I agree with that. Are you surprised to learn that intelligence data was altered? I know that I'm going to be very surprised to learn this. If you are, go to newsmaxtv.com/comments to let us know. Maybe we'll even read your comments on the air, as you know we do every night. Coming up, Bobby Jindal wages war on Donald Trump.